So you just updated your iPhone to iOS 26.1. And you're probably thinking, okay, what cool new features did I get? But here's the thing. This update is so much more than that. We're going to break down how this latest software release is actually a massive move in a global chess match over your data.
This quote right here, it absolutely nails it. It frames this whole update not as just some technical patch, but as a declaration in this huge growing debate. The bottom line is, this isn't just about your phone. It's about who's in control.
Okay, so let's dive in. We'll start with the stuff you'll actually see and feel on your device. What exactly prompted this update, and what new tools are now at your fingertips?
Well, the main reason we even have iOS 26.1 is because of a user backlash. That new LiquidGlass design from iOS 26, with all the see-through panels, it was causing some serious problems. People were complaining about eye strain and, maybe even worse, that it was just killing their battery. So, Apple listened. The biggest and most immediate fix is a new little toggle in your settings that lets you tone down or just turn off those effects completely.
All right, so here's the full rundown, the 9 big changes. We've got the LiquidGlass toggle, of course, but if you look closer, you'll see things like more control over your privacy with an option to kill that camera swipe on the lock screen, and then you see these other things, right? Language expansion for AppleIntelligence and signals for accessory interoperability. This isn't just some random grab bag of updates. It's a mix of user-requested fixes, a few cool conveniences, and some very strategic additions that we're about to unpack.
And here we go. This is the pivot point. That language support, those accessory signals, that's not random. Nope. They are a direct, calculated response to global pressures. With this update, Apple is sending a very clear message on the world stage.
And that brings us to the real heart of this whole thing. This growing global showdown between tech giants like Apple and national governments who all want more and more control over the digital lives of their citizens. Okay, before we get any deeper, we really need to understand this term, digital sovereignty. Put simply, it's the idea that a country has the right to set the rules for the digital world inside its own borders. From where your data gets stored to which apps you're allowed to use. This single idea is at the very center of this entire conflict. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. Here are 2 massive examples happening right now. Over in the European Union, you've got the Digital Markets Act, which is basically forcing Apple to open things up and work with third-party services. Meanwhile, India's new Data Protection Act is pushing for something called data localization, meaning data from Indian users has to stay on servers physically inside India. These laws are literally shaping the code that's on your phone right now. So how's Apple handling all this? Well, that brings us to their strategy. See, they're not just reacting to all these rules, they are playing an incredibly smart, calculated game to turn all these regulatory headaches into an actual advantage.
Here's their playbook, broken down into 3 key moves. First, localization. By adding new languages, they're not just being inclusive, they're making a direct play for growth in key markets that have these strict new rules. Second, they're going for compliance without concession. What does that mean? Well, those new signals for third-party accessories, that's Apple giving a little nod to the EU regulators, giving them something without tearing down their whole walled garden. And finally, they're turning data laws into an asset. By being forced to build local AI clouds, they're actually making Siri smarter and way more useful in each of those regions.
And all of this just perfectly illustrates the bigger picture here. An operating system update isn't just about fixing bugs anymore. It's a tool for navigating international law. It's a tool for market expansion. It's a tool for literally defining a country's access to the digital world. The software on your iPhone is now an instrument of foreign policy. Wild, right? So, that's the giant global chess match. But let's bring it back down to earth. What does all of this actually mean for you, the person holding the iPhone? How does all this high-level strategy affect your day-to-day? Well, with any update, there's always a trade-off. On the one hand, the benefits are pretty clear. You get new features like that LiquidGlass toggle, more control over your privacy, and of course, really important security fixes. But on the other hand, there are risks. Some users are still reporting faster battery drain, features can be fragmented, meaning you might see a cool new feature roll out in one country but not yours, and big changes can sometimes cause weird issues with your favorite apps for a little while.
So, to help you out, here is a quick, practical checklist. Number 1, and this is a big one, always back up your device before updating. After you've updated, hop into your settings and play with that new LiquidGlass toggle to see what you prefer. Then, take a minute to review your privacy settings, especially that new option to turn off the camera swipe from the lock screen. And hey, after all that, have some fun with it. Go test out the new features, like the expanded live translation on your AirPods.
And that brings us to the final and most important question. This entire situation really just boils down to this one conflict. You've got the platform, you've got the user, that's you, and you've got the state. As they all fight for control, who do you think should have the final say over your data? It's the central question that's going to define the next chapter of technology, and it's being fought over right inside the device in your pocket.